Vision 2030. These areas include agriculture, housing and settlement, micro, small, and medium enterprises, health, digital superhighway, and creative economy, which are the 5 key pillars of Kenya Kwanza Manifesto Plan. The government acknowledges the instrumental role of the diaspora in the achievement of its bottom-up economic transformation agenda. In a demonstration of commitment to facilitate the diaspora engage more meaningfully in this regard, His Excellency President William Ruto elevated the diaspora issues to a State Department within the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs. I believe you all have seen what this diaspora department has done in the few months that it has been in existence. We cannot overemphasize the significant contribution of the Kenyan diaspora to the economic development of our country. Today, and according to figures that Robert here provided, remittance from diaspora are the number 1 single foreign exchange earner for Kenya. In 2022, the total remittances from the diaspora were $4.027 billion. And guess what? With US alone accounting for 55.5% of that amount. So out of the entire remittances to Kenya from the diaspora, the Kenyan diaspora in the US remitted more than half. That tells you how important you people are to the Kenyan economy. And as an importer of Kenyan products to the US, the Kenyan diaspora promotes the Kenya-US trade relations. You are also investing directly at home in several sectors, and you are also transferring knowledge and skills that you have required while in your host countries. The USA remains a critical market for Kenya, ranking 7th in overall trade and 2nd as our bilateral export destination in the last 5 years. In 2022, Kenya marked all-time high export of US dollars 777 million to the United States. And our top exports include textiles and apparels, coffee, tea, fruits and nuts, cut flowers, and mineral ores, among others. The government has recently formulated the National AGOA strategy to address any challenges with a view to maximizing the utilization of this preference scheme. The diaspora forms a very important component in driving the maximization of AGOA for the remaining years. You therefore need to position yourselves accordingly so that you can reap maximum benefits from this framework. The US private sector business membership organizations are equally engaging with their counterparts in Kenya to promote trade and investments. As you may know, the Corporate Council on Africa in 2021 signed a memorandum of understanding with the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, KEPSA, whose objectives included to enhance the participation of SMEs in Kenya-US trade and increase investments to Kenya by the US SMEs, minority, and the diaspora. We must begin to reap the fruits of some of these MOUs now by linking home-based SMEs and those in the US. This is another opportunity for the Kenyan diaspora to tap into. And as you continue to explore investment and trade opportunities, you can count on our embassy in Washington, D.C. to facilitate you in any way, including linking you up with the relevant US and Kenyan private sector agencies, such as the US Chamber, the American Chamber of Commerce, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, the National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the private sector umbrella body, KEPSA, among others. And I'm confident that Robert is going to expound more on the details on some of the things that they can provide as an embassy. But let me underscore in conclusion that when the story of Kenya's economic transformation is written, the Kenyan diaspora will feature as a hero. And you can make it happen by investing not only in the 5 pillars of the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto Plan, but also in the logistics, tourism, manufacturing, and financial services. I am certain that every dollar you invest, whether in importing products from Kenya or investing into projects, businesses in the country, that dollar will yield handsome profits to you. But more importantly, it will change a life in Kenya through employment and job creation. Basically, you will be creating a win-win situation. So let me once again commend Jambo List for its exceptional community mobilization skills, the phenomenal entrepreneurial leadership, and of course, hosting this 2023 Expo. And I wish you all an enriching experience and assure you of continued support of the government of Kenya. Asanteni sana. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Balozi. The Expo 2023 is official. Thank you so much. We appreciate. And now we hear that we can tap onto the trade. And it is good when you give us the statistics, the numbers, so that we can know where we belong and what we are doing in diaspora. Hatukukuja hapa kupotea. We came to uplift ourselves, our families, our country, our communities. And we are going to do it even better together. Thank you very much. We listened to your words, and we are really going to tap onto the embassy for those promises. Count on us with that. Your representation here, my husband was just telling me here, oh, Wamela, I know that name. He helped me sometime when I had a difficult time, I think, with a passport. But he didn't meet the person. He knows the name. So what you're doing out there is recognized. So tuwapatie makofi. Thank you so much. We appreciate. And for all of us, we all come with talents. Whatever it is, list it. Jambo is listing talents. Whatever it is, list it. If you cook, list it, right? If you can cook, and you can cook for many people, let us know. If you can decorate, like these balloon garlands and all that, let's identify talents in the community. List yourself. If you can do photography, we see young ones here walking around. Let's list them and let's support them, right? Yes. If you can be able to sing, we saw talent here, right? Yes, let's support them. And when we do that for one another, right? We are uplifting our community. We are building one another. And together, tutaenda mbali, right? Yes, we are going to go far. We have pastors around us. And with all this, see, pastor representation. We have Pastor Mwangi here. We have Mrs. Kisule, who is Pastor Kisule's wife. We have Pastor Oh, yes, Mololo. And so we are rich. And we have another pastor here, I don't remember his name. Rani. Alrighty, see, we are represented by many different people we do not know, and that's why we said tap onto your neighbor and get to know them. We are all rich together. So, with that said, I am going to say that the first session of this program is almost done, but we are going to have a panel. So because the Jambo List Expo 2023 is officially opened by Balozi, now we are going to have a panel. And in this panel, we are going to have somebody that is going to run that session. For me, my session is done. I am very happy. And I think, can I list MC, right, on Jambo List? Oh, yes. All right. Yes, we are going to list. We are going to, whatever it is we can be able to do, let us list it. And so this is my last time that you're going to see me here on this panel. On this podium. And I'm going to be headed out. I'll be traveling tonight, and I'm going to welcome one of our very able persons that has hung around with Jambo List. She has done a lot for Jambo, and she's going to now lead us in the next session. And her name is Irene. Irene, welcome and lead us on the next one. Karibuni, welcome Irene, please. When you see the CES tomorrow, say hello. He's my personal friend. His family is my personal friends. And I know I'm going to miss all these, but I know you are going to get the best. The rest of the expo is going to be amazing. So, Irene, when you're ready. As Irene gets here, tell each other Jambo again. Jambo, we are still getting it.
Thank you so much, Gladys. And, good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Balozi and our extinguished guests, my fellow colleagues in New Jersey. Good evening, everybody. It is my pleasure to lead this next session. We're going to have a panel, and I'm just going to call out their names and then we'll start over. I don't know if it's going to be possible to remove this. So I'm just going to call our panelists to come and join me here on the stage. We have Teresa and Joroge. Miss Teresa, the MD of Jambo List. That's me. Then we have Mr. Robert Ngonga. Welcome again. We have Mr. William Amayo and Mr. Joseph Waitaka, Mr. Crispus Washira, and Mr. Maurice Njage, last but not least. Yes, so I'm just gonna introduce you for a few minutes. And we have, Jambo List has composed a very amazing group of panelists. They are all experts in their field. Some of them are experts in their careers, others in business or entrepreneurs, and of course, to provide an enabling environment for our businesses or our investments, we have a government representative. So the theme of today's panel is growing an economically strong diaspora community. I'm sure you'll share the sentiment with me that we all want to be economically empowered. And it's for this reason that we thought that this was, it was important to have people to share with us some tips and give us some advice on how we can do exactly that. So I'm going to introduce, not in any particular order, but just as I've written. We have the first, maybe ladies first, we have Ms. Teresa Njoroge, and she, as we heard, she's the MD of Jambo List. Mr. Teresa has a master's in special education, and she's a teacher by profession. She's a mom, and she's a philanthropist, as we heard in the introduction. She's a learning and disability specialist. Then we have Mr. Robert Ngonga, who we have also been introduced to. He's a commercial and trade attaché in the Kenyan Embassy in DC. He holds a master's, he holds an MBA, and he's also an accountant, so he's a certified public accountant. We have Mr. William Amayo. Yeah, that's Mr. William Amayo. He's the head of branches and alternative channels in Diamond Trust Bank. He has extensive experience in banking with over 20 years of experience, and he has an MBA in strategic management. Next to him is Mr. Joseph Waithaka, who is the head of diaspora banking also in Diamond Trust Bank. He has over 20 years in banking. 16 of those years were in various roles in a bank, in a major bank in the US. So he's also an alumni of the diaspora, so to speak. He has an MBA in finance and management information systems. And next to me, we have Mr. Maurice Njage, who is the CEO of Muhasibu Housing. He has held various management roles in different organizations, and he has a master's degree, an MBA in strategic management, and he also has a diploma in investment banking and fund management, amongst many other qualifications. Last but not least, we have Mr. Chris Paswashira at the end. He's a founder and CEO of Almond Estates, and he holds an MBA. It looks like we have many MBAs on the panel in entrepreneurship, and he's been leading Almond since 2014. So, as we can see, we have a well-diversified team, and I'm sure we are going to leave with a lot of good information and advice. So to start us off, I'm going to start with our MD of Jambo List to tell us a little bit more, just a little bit more of Jambo List. We've been hearing a lot about it, but some people are still not very clear. Is Jambo List an online directory? Do Jambo List organize events, or do they do everything? Just tell us a little bit more, and especially regarding how Jambo List can help small and medium enterprises to thrive. You may make reference to the challenges, especially the ones in the diaspora, the challenges and the concerns that people have. And I heard that you were born to solve, Jambo List was created to solve those problems. So just share with us a little bit of that. Thank you.
I mean, I can talk about Jambo List all day, but the whole concept, like Sarah said, we are community leaders. I came to this country in 1995. So it's 28 years ago that I came here, and I was younger. I was in my early 20s. And what happened when I got here, I had the culture shock, and I realized that I had to depend on other Kenyans in order to get information, right? So as I lived here in Jersey, I became a community leader by default, because then people who came after me, I didn't want them to go through the same struggles that we had we had experienced. So we would tell them, what do you need to do? What do you need to do? And and then so happened that Mary is similar like me. We like helping people, and so is Sarah. So we pride ourselves as people who care about our community. And because of that, we realized that our community was lacking information. And actually, this is how Jambo List was born. It was actually one evening I was taking a walk, and I was talking on the phone with Sarah. Surprise, we talk like 3 times a day. But this time, we were talking about a book that I had led. And the book was by a rabbi named Daniel Rapin. He has written so many books, and I'm in love with this rabbi. But the rabbi talks about why Jews prosper. And part of it is because they unite and they do support one another. They support one another. And from there, I said to Sarah, how come us Africans don't do that? And we were like, you know why? The reason why we don't do it is because sometimes we don't know what people engage in. I don't know who is the mama, the person who makes chapatis or who can host an event. I don't know that there's a lady who sews clothes in Pennsylvania. And because if I don't know, then I cannot be able to support. And because of that, that's how we came about. That's how Jamboree was born. And so Jamboree was born to fill that gap of connecting businesses to consumers and consumers to businesses. And we call ourselves a one-stop shop.
Thank you so much, Teresa. And indeed, it is good to come together and try to help one another. But unless we have a conducive environment to prosper in whatever it is we are trying to start, we are just not going to be successful. So my next question is going to go to Mr. The commercial attaché, and Mr. Ngonga. I always confuse it with Mr. Nganga, but it's Mr. Ngonga. And the question is, what is your role as the commercial and trade attaché at the embassy? And again, how can we benefit from that role? How can people in the diaspora, what opportunities exist for us in the diaspora? And can you take us step by step, telling us exactly what we want to do, what we can do? Because I'm sure it's not the first time we know about this role, but every time we hear about it, we never know then what's the next step. Is there a focal point, for example, who we should call, or how can we benefit? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Irene. And just as Irene has said, I'm Robert Ngonga. I'm the trade attaché. Sometimes you call it commercial attaché, but all actually works for me. So I'm grateful for this opportunity. And my role as a commercial attaché is to promote our exports to this market. That is the most important aspect of my work, actually, in the US. The second aspect is to promote investment from the US to Kenya. And then the third aspect is also to handle issues of technology transfer. How can we transfer technology that increases labor productivity back at home? Then another one is also to promote the tourist numbers back at home. How can we grow the number of tourists back at home? And then the fourth aspect is also to handle issues that relate to agriculture. Since we don't have an agricultural attaché, I handle issues that do with agriculture, especially on those that touch on market access. Those, our suppliers who are supplying to this market agricultural products, cereals, what have you, they actually need their products to have actually undergone what is called a pest risk analysis. So some exporters actually face challenges while accessing this market when their products have not been certified under the pest risk analysis. Your product cannot actually enter the US. So we try to facilitate those access barriers by linking the phytosanitary institutions like the American Plant Health Inspectorate, and our Kenya Plant Service Inspectorate, that is KEFIS, just to see how we can increase that access. So those are actually my major points of action while I'm in the US. But you have also raised a very important point that how do we help our people actually to exploit these opportunities around the activities that are actually carried at the embassy. So maybe in terms of products, the resources that are available is to provide information, as I'm doing right here today. We also facilitate, especially those who are facing difficulties in product registration, information on how to export maybe under AGOA. And in this market, we export actually under three areas. That is, you can export and benefit through AGOA preference. You can also export under what we call the general certificate of preference. And the third aspect is that you can actually export under the most favorable nation. I'll explain how they work. AGOA gives us preference actually to export to this market duty-free on over 6,000 products. And this is something that has been going on since the year 2000, although the utilization has been very low. But it gives us actually to access this market with over 6,000 product lines. So that is actually a unilateral preference that it will actually lapse in 2025. There are talks on how it can be renewed, but that's now the decision of the Congress, whether they'll renew it, whether they'll modify it, or whether it will lapse completely. But between now and 2025, there's something we can do, maybe as those of us sitting here, those whom we interact with, we can encourage them actually to utilize that window before AGOA expires. There's also the general service, the general service preference, which also gives a reduction in duty in about over 2,000 products, which you can actually export to this market. Then the last one, which I talked about, is the most favored nation status. This one, you actually compete on an equal basis to access the US market. There's no duty reduction. So those are the areas in which we can access this particular market. There are also negotiations which are currently going on just to increase access to market, increase investment, and also to open up this market a little bit more. We are negotiating a bilateral agreement on strategic trade and investment partnership. It covers 11 areas. SMEs is one of them. We also have areas like agriculture, which our people can also benefit. We also have areas like anti-corruption. We have areas like SMEs. So it has got a number of areas, but most importantly, which the diaspora can benefit directly, is the area of SMEs. We have the area for women, youth, and also diaspora. We also have an area on service regulation, which the diaspora can also benefit. We also have an area on digital economy, which actually the diaspora can also benefit. We have had actually 3 rounds of negotiations. The 4th round is supposed to take place in July. So it's good also for the diaspora to know that some of these things are happening. We could engage them just to get an input from the diaspora and what they feel this agreement should contain. Then in terms of areas which the diaspora can also benefit from at home, which I felt is also good to highlight. The previous government was focusing on 4 areas, and the 4 areas was housing, health, agriculture, and food security. That was the 3rd medium-term plan. The 4th medium-term plan, which starts from 2022 to 2027, the Kenya Kwanza government has its priority areas. Apart from the 4 areas, they added 1 area and removed 1 area and put it under another area. The manufacturing was put under agriculture and food security, because agriculture is supposed to provide materials for the manufacturing sector. So I think that's why the manufacturing lost that emphasis. But we have housing, health, food security, ICT and digital superhighway, and then micro and small enterprises program. I wish I had time to just deal with the investment opportunities in each area, but I think housing will be dealt with, I think, tomorrow in greater detail, given that the CS, the PS, and maybe possibly the CS would be around. The issues of food security, I could just touch on it. It's a great challenge at home, and this is an opportunity. Apart from what we consume, it's also supposed to provide the raw materials for our industries. It's also supposed to spur certain sectors which are considered to be key value chains. It's like leather is a very key value chain. Issues like the priority sectors which have been put under the emphasis of trying to uplift the value chain, like rice. Issues to do with pyrethrum. Yeah, so some of the sectors are seen to be actually deteriorating, but they have a very good potential which they can address, actually issues of food security, issues of employment, issues also of providing raw materials for the manufacturing sector. And when you come to the ICT and digital superhighway, this sector, so much of it is on how can we digitize the government services, and also how can the youth also benefit from some of this, some of the issues around ICT and the digital superhighway. And then issues of SMEs, they are cross-cutting, and they cross-cut in several sectors, and most of our businesses are SMEs, and we want the SMEs to benefit from the technology that the diaspora can provide to the SMEs. And you heard from the Balozi's speech, he mentioned something about the MOU that was signed between KEPSA and CCA. So the MOU is supposed to drive the investment between the diaspora here and the SMEs back at home. So that is a sector that I felt is quite useful to mention to the diaspora. Maybe other questions will provoke maybe what the audience would want to hear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, and that's quite extensive. In fact, listening to you, I'm tempted to tell Jambo List to organize another day just dedicated to us listening to what the Trade and Commercial Attaches Office can provide to us in the diaspora. And specifically the AGOA, we only have 2.5 years before it expires. And I'm sure so many people will be calling you after this and saying, oh, we really want to benefit, how can we? So, and we also welcome the opportunity to to join in the negotiations which are ongoing. We would like to contribute. So we will ask Jambo List to probably guide us in that so that we can be able to benefit from that. And so we have our issues. We know what opportunities exist for us by way of government. So let's go to the money. So the next set of questions is going to go to our panelists from the Diamond Trust Bank. And Diamond Trust Bank is a well-known bank. And most of us grew up knowing about Diamond Trust Bank. But lately, they've really been expanding extensively, both in the region, in the East African region, and even within Kenya. And you've been advertising, you've been holding campaigns, you formed various strategic partnerships with so many organizations. You even joined the UN Global Compact. What is driving all that change? And we even saw that you've done very well in terms of finances. You even declared an increase of dividends of 67%. Okay, what is driving that change, and what's the vision you have for that for us? That's the first question.
Thank you, Irene, for the question. And I must say that as a Diamond Trust Bank, we're very proud to associate with Jambo List. We've officially listed ourselves. And we look forward to much more of this. So first and foremost, so who are we? So Diamond Trust Bank is a leading regional bank in East Africa, as you've said. And in Kenya, we do have, we are a Tier 1 bank, and we've been around for the last 77 years. Not so many people know about that. We are a local bank. Our first branch was opened in Mombasa. And currently, we have 74 branches spread across Kenya. And in East Africa, we are present in Tanzania, Uganda, Burundi, and we still continue to grow within East Africa. So far within East Africa, we do have over 140 branches. We differentiate ourselves from other banks in terms of our offering of world-class service. We are known, and we have been awarded before as a customer-centric organization, and that is what differentiates us from the other banks. And if I may elaborate further, so if you come to our branches in Kenya right now, we are amongst the very few banks that do extend working hours for our customers. Operates in all spheres of life. So if you go into educational services, we do have the Aga Khan schools, Aga Khan academies, Aga Khan universities. If you go to the field of hospitals, so we do have Aga Khan Hospital. If it's in insurance, we have Jubilee Insurance. If it is in agriculture, we do have a number of our sister companies whom we work with together. So we are actually looking at socio-economic development in all sectors, facets of life, and that drives our vision. So our vision is to enable people to advance with success and confidence. And really that aligns very well with the Jambo list. And that's why I'm very proud to be part and parcel of this. I would say that, yes, it's true, we've been expanding. The last year alone, we opened more than 10 branches. This year, I'm mandated to open additional 24 branches. That will bring us to around over 100 branches. And this drive is basically to offer convenience and accessibility to our customers. So if you look at our posters there, so we say bank with us, bank on us. It's a campaign that we drive to assure you that if you bank with DTB Bank, then really we can keep the promise in terms of offerings of our solutions and also customer service. So we're running a campaign on bank with us, bank on us. And we say we are a bank that when the rains starts to rain on you, then we provide you with an umbrella. We don't remove the umbrella from you, but we provide an umbrella to shelter you. And this we can relate very well during the COVID period. So majority of our customers who were really affected by COVID, they experienced what I'm saying, because we were with them all through. We made sure, their loans were restructured with the challenges that were there, and we worked with them the whole journey. So the expansion program that we are running is really to bring services closer to our customers, and also to introduce more value-add services. Not so many of us might know of Diamond Trust Bank. You may know more of the Brown Bank or the Green Bank as a local bank. But we are happy today that we are bringing you the Red Bank. And this Red Bank is here to learn. We've been operating with very niche clients and offering very excellent service to them. Most of them are the SMEs. But right now we'd want to expand into different segments. And that's why we are here today. And we want to use this platform to even launch our diaspora banking proposition. And that means that, the services that we've been offering to our niche clientele, which is the SMEs and the corporates, is what we'd really want to extend to you. In our proposition as a bank, even in terms of our expansion, we are looking forward to being much more closer to the United States of America, because as we've heard from Balozi, over 55% of the remittances that do come to Kenya actually comes from the USA. So in our unit setup, as my colleague would expound on, so in terms of customer service, so we have a full unit that are aligned with the working hours due to the different timings that we have. So my colleague, Imi, works at night, the whole night, and I work during the day. And that's how we position ourselves in terms of actually giving you the best kind of service. So really, to answer your question, it's that simple, that we are on a growth strategy. And this growth strategy, it's not just expansion on the branch side network, but we are also investing very heavily in the digital space, where we provide interfaces that can make fintechs that are also in the diaspora be able to connect to us easily and offer services to our customers across the world. And so we are very proud to be here today to tell you more about ourselves. We would want you to be part of this journey that we've started. You join us, and then we can work together. Last, I also must say that in this transformation agenda, we are open to learning. So we would want to learn more and understand how do we differentiate our proposition from what the rest have been doing. So if the rest have been focusing more on having accounts or on loans, we'd want to take it a notch higher to see how do we work together with groups, how do we work together with unregistered groups, the registered groups, how do we work with the corporations who would want to invest in Kenya, and what opportunities can we create working with our over 200 sister companies under the Aga Khan Development Network in different sectors, be it agriculture, be it education, be it health, even working closely with the government to see what other investment opportunities we can put together for the diaspora. So we are very proud to be here. And really, the expansion is purely on growth strategy, but again, to give access to our customers. We have a very ambitious dream that, within the next few years, actually we are saying by 2026, we should be able to bank 1 out of every 6 bankable Kenyans locally in Kenya and also in the diaspora. So watch this space from us here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amayo. Yeah, and I wish you all the best. And that's quite an ambitious target, but I believe you have what it takes to reach it. And surprise, I didn't know that Kenya has become a 24-hour economy. People working at night and others during the day. That's quite good, because as our theme says, that will definitely make our economy grow. And to follow up, I'm going to ask the alumni of the diaspora. I've baptized you that from today. Mr. Waithaka, you having been the diaspora, you know the challenges that we face as far as being able to invest back home is concerned. Can you tell us what the bank, what solutions the bank can provide to us? And I'm sure each one of us here is a member of a group that is not registered, what we call chamas or other informal groups. Do you have space for those? And we also know you're more known, like Mr. Amayo has said, for corporate, for SMEs. Do you have space for the retail banker? So just tell us what opportunities you have for us as individuals in the diaspora, and especially for the unregistered groups, if any.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. I also want to thank Jambo List for the invitation. When we were approached and we heard about the opportunity to work with Jambo List, in fact, it just happened to be the time that we wanted to launch diaspora banking. So we were like, oh, wow, what a great opportunity. And then when we started working with Madam President, the MD and the CEO, because I've met them, several times. So we felt like that was it was a great opportunity for us. So personally, I think I can say, first of all, like Lillian said, I happen to be one of you guys that have lived in the US for a very long time. I have family that lives in the South, in a place called Oklahoma. So I'm sure maybe guys in the Northeast, you may not. I know there's one guy who asked me, why Oklahoma? So I thought Oklahoma is just all about tornadoes. And I said, that's okay, we still survive. So we know how to dodge them, So when we know they're on their way. So one thing I can say about why, let's start with why did I choose to work for DTB. Why not the other guys? Like, William mentioned about brown and green. I read. Of course, it was because I looked at their growth strategy. I listened to exactly what they wanted to do. The diaspora department, or the launching of diaspora department, happened to be part of the retail growth strategy. So, and that is why also, because I know that Lillian said, because I think that's what we've been known to do, that is to concentrate on SMEs, which we've done a great job out of that. But if you look at all these branches we are opening, we are not opening so that we can bank SMEs per se. We are opening branches, even like in places where Mama Mboga, where everyone is. So if you see the brown or the green, you're more likely going to see the red also there. So that also forms the same reason why we decided that we should also concentrate also on, or focus on, diaspora banking. Because you spoke and we listened. And the reason why I'm saying that is I know the biggest reason or the biggest headache that people in diaspora have, and I know those questions are coming when we allow you guys to ask questions, is poor customer service. Everyone knows that, right? Isn't it? You send an email, how many days does it take? 3 days. Sometimes even it doesn't even, you never even get a response. So for DTB, we decided that we want to do it differently. And the first thing they did was to pick someone from diaspora, that is me. Someone, with the, experience in banking here. And now someone also who understands a lot of things that people may not understand. So if I say something like majuala, so mnajua hiyo ni nini? Exactly. So, but we don't talk about those things because all of us have a story, right? Me too. So I think, the biggest mistake I know most of the institutions have made is to get the local guys to, to set up the diaspora. So even you look at the procedures, the policies, they don't align with what we diaspora want, isn't it? So, like for me, the main reason why I decided to take the job, I like to share this story. Because for me, it's an experience. At some point, my mother was sick, was fighting cancer. That was back in 2010. She had been hospitalized in Nairobi Hospital. I was banking with an institution, one of those blue, no, not blue, brown or green, whichever. I'm not against any institution, but I'm just giving an example. For me, it's personal. So I had sent a lot of money in Kenya. I just needed to do a simple transfer from my account to my mom's account so that she could be discharged. She ended up staying in the hospital for an extra 3 days over just a form. So every time I would call, I would be told, hey, your RM has stepped out. Sometimes I would stay the whole night trying to talk to that, trying to call the bank, send emails, call, nothing. Over just a form. Why? Because the form, I had been told that the form I needed to go to the nearest embassy to get it notarized. So, come on. if you're in Texas, which is your nearest embassy, Washington, D.C., but that person did not understand. So those are some of the things I'm talking about. So now DTB, of course, listened. So that's why we were, in fact, even asked to set up the department. And then now I have someone like Amaya who's been very, very supportive in terms of our business, still has to go to the branches. And that is why he's here, so that now you can see the commitment even on the side of the bank. Now, we have very, very good products. We are not just only offering you a bank account. We want to make sure, because I know the other biggest pain, someone told me yesterday, is the fact that you apply for a mortgage, you apply for a loan, it takes 6 to 8 months, right? While here, it just takes what? As soon as you go to your bank or the mortgage originator, what do? You get a good faith estimate immediately, right? So that, you can go and shop and just decide if that is a person that, of course, giving you the disclosures and all those things. That is the closing cost, all those things. That is exactly the same model that we have adopted. And then besides that also, other banks will not finance up to 100%. We do. The other thing is, we know most of the banks will say, oh, we can only give you a mortgage up to 5 years, 6 years, as we can go up to 20 years. So you can see we are trying to mimic or copy the same specific things that you guys do here, right? So that is why I think when it is set up by the right people, then it becomes very doable. So Lillian also asked a question about chama. Actually, I belong to 2 chamas. Even to this day, I still contribute. So every time we go meet chamas, people will be like, we have come up with so much money, but we don't know where to invest it. So now, this is the solution that we've come up with. We are working with different players within the ecosystem. So people like Mr. Washira, who is selling affordable homes. Someone who is, let's say, selling mashambas. We even have some lawyers. We have, engineers. We have, all these many people. So what we've done is to bring all those guys together so that now when you come and tell us that we don't know what to invest in, or maybe we are thinking of maybe constructing an apartment, for the chama so that, we can start, raising money. Making money. We've also had even cases of where a chama will get together, buy a big chunk of land, subdivide it for the members. So when those things happen, so they'll come to us. We have people that we vetted. We know these people are good to go. Then in that case, we can direct you to that. So we do open chama accounts, left, right, at the center. In fact, those ones, the 2 that I talked about that I'm a member of, they're already banking with us. So we do have a solution for that. So unless maybe there's anything else I've forgotten.
No, thank you so much, and that's quite a relief, and I'm sure you'll be inundated with follow-up questions, especially regarding the chamas.
Sure.
Very many people are indeed interested in investing back at home. So I'm going to move to this end. I'll talk, Mr. Njage, Muhasibu. I'm an accountant. And I've been a member of Muhasibu for a very long time, Muhasibu Sacco. Then recently, yesterday, I got to know that there's Muhasibu Housing, even though this company has been in existence for almost 10 years or 15 years. So is Muhasibu Sacco and Muhasibu Housing one and the same? That's the first question. And then the second one, what do you have to offer to us, members of the diaspora? Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen, and everybody else. Good evening. My name is Njagi, Maurice Njagi, and I'm the CEO of Mwasibu Housing. Mwasibu is a Swahili word that means accountant. Ni kuhesabu. I know that can be a tongue twister to some people, but it's basically a Swahili word. And Mwasibu Sacco, as Irina said, is a member, has been there for quite some time. Since 1986, that's when we were formed as a Sacco. And of course, over time, we have grown in terms of membership. Currently, we are serving over 20,000 members within Kenya and outside the country. Some people who have moved to the diaspora in America, in Europe, in Australia, are still our members, and we continue to serve them. And out of need for creating solutions for housing for our members, we formed Mwasibu Housing. That was way back in 2008. So you are right, it has been quite some time, almost 15 years now. And within this time, I know we have not been, for the first half of that period, maybe up to 2015, we basically only served our members. Remember, most of these circles in the country were very closed in form of the people they wanted to serve. It was more of a closed society. And mainly circles were serving members within their common bond. And our common bond was mainly in accountants, auditors, accountants in government, anyone, because I know some people are recruited way back when they were in college. Those who went to KCA, they were recruited from there, others from the University of Nairobi. And those universities, which basically were offering finance and accountant. But of course, as time moved on, after I think this time from 2015, then we realized that our market was shrinking and we needed to open up. So even the circle opened up to other professionals to join. And also ourselves, we opened our products to everyone. So this time now, any member of the public can be our customer in the housing. Although the circle still retains some restrictions in terms of who becomes a member. At least, even if you're not an accountant, you need to show that if you are an individual member, you belong to a certain profession. That's why if you look at the way we are structured, we still call ourselves a circle for professionals, because that is what we have wanted to maintain all through. And we are regulated by SASLA. SASLA is a body in the country that regulates circles, just like the way central bank regulates banks. We are under that regulation. That means that the businesses we do are supervised and are regulated to conform to a certain pattern that the government wants. And even when we are dealing with property, remember we have only one shareholder, who is Mwasibu Sacco. We don't have other shareholders. So our reporting, when we have our AGM, we report our business just the way the Sacco reports the business. And SASLA comes actually to find out what we are doing, because they are also trying to regulate. I know of some time now, SACCOs and these other institutions have been used a lot for money laundering. And those are some of the things that now they are coming in to curb, so that ensure that the kind of business we are doing is clean and is business that doesn't violate any set out laws or guidelines. In terms of business, Mwasibu Housing, we have been doing business now for quite some time. And we were among the first companies that delivered a gated community in Runda. If you go to Runda, we have an estate there called Runda Paradise, next to Wagidegra Club, a huge estate there. We delivered in 2012. From there, we have delivered over 25 projects in the country. And our pride is to see that people are happy in those estates. There are no issues. Families are growing up there, their children and everything. And even people here in the diaspora, some of them have bought products from us. They have built homes. We have helped them to build homes, because I know one of the biggest challenges with people across here is time. And we have heard stories of people who sent money home to their brothers, even their mothers, and the money never got to where it was intended to. So we do that. We do project management. We ensure that those who want to develop their projects, their properties, we help them to do that. We have a full department that is involved in development for our customers. Like now, I think we have like 15 to 20 people that we are developing for. Some are from China, others in Australia. We have some in Europe, and some here in the US that we are developing for in the projects that we have sold to them. So we offer an end-to-end process, because we also want to ensure that there is no point within this discussion where you lose value of what you are buying. Currently, we have projects across the country, from Kisumu. Those people who love Kisumu, Kisumu is a beautiful place. We have projects there. We have projects in Nakuru. We have projects in Nairobi. We have projects in Juja, very famous now. We have projects in Kiambu. We have projects along Kangundo Road, quite a number. Projects along Mombasa Road. Projects in Mombasa, Vipingo. Projects in Ruiru. Basically, we have projects which are currently ongoing in almost all major places in the country. And we'll be here to help you to identify an area we will be interested in. And those who would want us to help them to develop, that is our business. We are going to help you to do that. You don't have to be a member of Mwasibu Sacco. You can be financed by Diamond Trust, and you bring the money. We do it for you. Yeah, so we are doing business with everybody, and I want to really appreciate Jambo List. I chanced on this opportunity through a friend, and I really appreciate the opportunity to bring business to business, and also the business to the customers as it is. So thank you so much, Eileen, and I'm looking forward to the next discussion.
Thank you so much, Mr. Njage. And I must say, I'll join you in thanking Jambo List for putting together this exhibition, because these are things we would never have known. I would never have known that Mwasibu has a housing unit, and you are involved in all those very reputable projects. Some of the ones you've mentioned, we all know about. And Jambo List prides itself in vetting the entities they deal with. And we are happy that you did this. So thank you, Jambo List. Last but not least, even though we may have a few follow-up questions for the panelists, but for this first round, we are now going to move to Mr. Washira. Mr. Washira, I listened to you last Saturday. You had an excellent presentation about your organization, also organized.
Thank you, Irene. It's scriptural. I'm a believer of that one unchanging book. And so the name is derived from the book of Numbers. chapter number 17, line 8, where Moses had given the leadership of the children of Israel some sticks. And after one day, when they were called out, the stick of Aaron was the only one that was found having blossomed and also having ripened almonds. So our case is to give life as the Lord of Aaron gave life and hope, even to the effect that God called it out to be retained as witness to the children of Israel.
Oh, that's wow. That's that's very intriguing and amazing. Every day we learn something new. And now I would like you to tell us why almonds. Convince us why we need to invest with almonds and not any other of the many companies that we saw here being advertised by Jambo List. Why almond?
Thank you again, Lydian. Thank you, Jabolist, also for having us on board. Actually, number one thing is because we are already listed. So it started with the Jambo, na tukasema tu Jambo. Then we were consequently listed, and so we are part of this entire agenda. Secondly, I must say that as an organization, we are now nearly 10 years in this business, matters real estate, and basically on land and housing. And we began as a land, as an organization dealing primarily on land, 2014, all through to 2020, when we started off and ventured into housing in the midst of COVID. And we say this is a divine opportunity, that when there was a crisis, then we had an opportunity also to do to the people that which we felt that God has allowed us to do in this space. As an organization, we pride ourselves as perfect property solutions provider, and how our desire, our aim is to deliberately demystify land ownership and home or house ownership in the Republic of Kenya. You all know how matters land are emotional, how they are sentimental, and how again the land is entirely scarce, yet very, very, very special. So ours is to demystify ownership and so forth. But also most importantly is because we have designed ourselves to and positioned ourselves to serve and the middle and the bottom of the pyramid. So while it's to be looking probably for us at the apex, we are completely at the middle and the bottom of the pyramid, because we know that is where challenges are. And as an organization desirous of offering solutions to matters land, we are sure that members of our population under that segmentation, we are the go-to people for matters land and housing solutions. Armored is a member of a recently launched and registered organization called Real Estate Stakeholders Association. That is an association that was registered this year with the name of restoring investor confidence in real estate. And so I would always advise all buyers across, always ask the organization, the person, the entity you're dealing with, whether yeye ni member wa Association of Real Estate Stakeholders, because this is where not only are we careful on who is selling or who is buying, but we are also very careful on who is selling to the market, because we want to make sure that the industry is not stained, is not contaminated, and we want to ensure also that there are no reports of losses of a very hard-earned investment from our people across the globe. Our DNA as Armored is affordability. That is our DNA. Wherever we go, we talk of affordability, affordability. Why? Because the people and the segment we serve, the middle and the bottom, are challenged in two ways: the purchasing power and access to funding. Those are challenges that are notable, and they are notable to those who are the majority. So, as an organization, whatever our product is, be it housing, be it land, it is affordable and not affordable in the general relative definition, but in as far as the purchasing power is concerned. So, like I said, our desire is to offer solutions and solve problems, and therefore, what have we done to be solutions provider and also to solve a problem? In all our operations, in land and in housing, by God's grace, we come into the marketplace with funds for our operations. So we're saying that be it a construction, a housing project, Armored has the money to do the construction from beginning to end. In this case, we turned the tide and said that we will not go the very best model known as the off-plan model, which is convenient and yet good. However, with a lot of challenges. We turned the tide and said, we will come along and do a complete unit model. In this case, we bring and put our funds into the project and offer to the potential buyers that which is complete. So that is how different we are, that we're not dependent on clients' money to do whatever project we're doing, whether land or housing. And so how do we engage our clients from conception so that they are able to interact with their unit, whether house or land, from the beginning? It is code-named My House, not to assure us, but the buyer. So come along, you see what is you calling My House. So it is your house because we are doing it together with you, and we are glad. And towards making sure that we are offering solutions along the supply chain order, as we come along with the funding for construction or funds to obtain a chunk of land which we subdivide and do value addition and present to the customer, we have also come up with a solution that will empower the end buyer by having a financing arrangement. In that case, we have put in place an affordable financing arrangement, which is geared towards ensuring that the buyer of a plot is able to purchase it affordably with a 5-year repayment plan. So with 5 years, you get our, again, affordable plot of largely below 1 million or slightly below 1.5 million. and you have an opportunity to repay the same over a period of 60 months, I believe even under the Oxford University Place Dictionary definition of affordability, that's affordable. Under a housing, in the housing sector, we have a financing program of up to 10 years with our units within the metropolis. And I mean within a radius of 20 kilometers from the Nairobi Central Business District, going for 5.6 million for a two-bedroom unit, or 3.7 million for a one-bedroom unit, and a 10-year repayment plan that is, again, in my view, affordable. And we have made it even sweeter that this arrangement where you have a longer repayment period, the funding is even 100% financing available. And I have, my green friends, I have found another definition of Kingdom Bank. It's green for peace also, giving us 100% financing, meaning that Almond has gone all the way to put in place a system that enables aspiring homeowners to affordably own homes with an opportunity to just come in, citing your unit with Almond, and then along that order, you are financed upon a wonderful, easy, seamless, and flexible appraisal process. And today, also with the red people, the opportunity is also available for you at nearly and the same terms, or even much better. And so the question was, why Almond? I think I have been able to, in brief, articulate why Almond. And as I conclude, in the space of affordable housing, I thank the government of the Republic of Kenya, and it's adequately represented in the House. They have carried a due diligence on Almond, and we are appointed as a strategic partner in the affordable housing program for the government of the Republic of Kenya. And our first project under that program is an upcoming project of 270 units in Kiserian, Gong sub-county. And therefore, the question asked to me, why Almond? It begins from the name and to the heart. And we thank God for that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ashira, and I'm sure we are convinced why Almond. And thank you even for sharing the information about the real estate stakeholders association. I think that is a very timely decision to have to regulate that industry, because several of us have been victims of one fraud or another. And also in Kenya, we've heard about the ugly stories of houses collapsing and all those kind of things. So thank you for sharing with that. And so we'll be sure to check our service providers, whether they belong to that association and whether they are complying with the regulations. So I wish to thank all of you so much for being with us. But, and we really would like to respect your time. But I was just thinking that maybe we have one or two very pressing questions which the panelists can take. And I would like to pose the first question on behalf of a friend of mine who told me to ask, and this question goes to Mr. Robert. And the question is, even though we know that you are the trade and commercial attaché, you also said that agriculture falls in your portfolio, and you said that that's where manufacturing was wrapped around in the new government. I think that's what you said, something like that. And so the question is, people back at home feel that the government is encouraging people to invest more in trade and less in manufacturing. And why they feel like that is because they feel that there's so much scrutiny, there's so much regulation around manufacturing and less in trading. But we all know about the benefits of manufacturing, including creating employment, and it can be a good element of economic growth. First of all, I would just like you to answer whether that is true, and if so, what are the reasons? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. I don't know in the context of this market or our home market or in Kenya. Okay, I would tend to agree with you to some extent that in as much as we liberalized trade, there is so much that people would want to import, but that creates an environment that manufacturing is getting a lot of competition, and some of the goods that we are getting from economies which are highly efficient. Some are also supporting their people, especially in terms of manufacturing. And I would say a country like China, they really support their people in terms of manufacturing. That means if we are importing a lot, then that means there's going to be a lot of competition that our local manufacturers will face. But I think the government is addressing it. There's a bill which is, I think, currently in Parliament. They call it the export tax, so that those who import certain products, there's a tax that is imposed on them, so that part of that tax can be used to support the local manufacturers. But there are also certain things that we need to address, maybe as a country, to make us competitive. Maybe issues of power, maybe restructuring our tax system so that it becomes predictable, and also it can guide also the manufacturers in long-term planning. There has been incentives which have been in place, but those incentives, the government feel they should review some of the incentives, because the incentives some of them have not worked for us. So we need to review some of the incentives that are currently in place. Some of the incentives actually target those who, majorly, they would target those who come from outside, not those who manufacture locally, especially the textile and apparel, which are actually in the export processing zones, and also the special economic zone. So some of these things, they need to be restructured so that even an SME can actually be located within a special economic zone or an export processing zone. But you find that in terms of affordability, to be in that infrastructure, the SMEs might not be able to be in that kind of environment. So the government is trying to see how they can address some of those challenges. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, and we hope you'll pass our message that several people are interested in manufacturing, and it would be good for the environment to become more nobly, not just in terms of money incentives, but in terms of less regulation. For example, KRA is at the back, you know, they're camping in some of the manufacturing companies, and making it very difficult for people even to go on with, let's say, if they want to do a 24-hour economy, like double shifts and all that. So we appreciate that. So now we are going to open up to the public. Yes. Yes, okay. Thank you.
This question is for Madam Teresa. Where do you see Jambo List in 10 years? Like, do you see it going abroad to different countries and continents?
Did you call me Mother Teresa?
No, Madam.
Oh, Madam.
Yeah.
I think you should have called me Mother Teresa. I would have felt better.
Oh.
What did you say? Where am I seeing it going?
Yeah, in 10 years.
In 10 years.
Yeah.
I actually see us getting very, very close to where the Jews and the Indians are. Very economically stable as a community because of jamborees. You know, I'm a teacher, so I know summary.
Yeah.
I'm answering you with one question, but with maybe two. The second thing is that I see us being able to bridge the gap between the businesses back home, and even like in the fall, Jamborees is gonna do more of a trade thing of the people who make their own like sew clothes, and they want the market here, and the people who like sewing and you know they make their own merchandise. We want people who make like a tea or anything, to package tea, to come and get their market here in the USA, you know, in the USA. So we feel that in 10 years, we are going to go very far.
I like that answer.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Any other pressing question? Okay. Please go to him.
Jambo panel, how are you? Sijui niulize kama kwa Kiswahili ama niulize kwa Kimombo. Nilikuwa nataka kuuliza mambo ya mkopo. Anyway, for the sake of those who don't understand Swahili, I'm very excited, but my question has to go to Amayo, and then this guy here at the end, because he talked about God. Amayo, I'm so excited about your bank, talking about 20 years, 25 years of mortgage. Is that what you're telling us, that you're going to provide for the people in the diaspora? And if that is so, what are the stipulations that you need to come up with? Because this has been something that's been going on for like forever for us, to want to buy a home back there, but without a mortgage, you know, it's a different story. But if I'm using your money to build something with this guy who's talking about God, then I can sleep at night instead of giving him my money, because I know you're protecting my money as a bank.
Great, thank you for the question. So, yes, it's true. The mortgage product that we provide the tenure is 20 years. And even in terms of the rates that we lend, it's at 11.9%. So if you go to Kenya now, I think that's the most affordable mortgage loan that you'll get. Most banks are around 13%, 15%. And I also must say that we come in to support not at 80%, not at 70%, but at 100%, because we know there are a lot of costs involved around mortgage products. So you've got the stamp duty, you've got the valuation fees, you've got the legal fees, and sometimes when there's no full disclosure of such fees, you get stuck when you already have approval and you have now to look for more money to pay all these fees. So what we do is that we load all these fees. We do the full disclosure, and we agree with you to load it as much as we do 90%. So we are flexible enough to advance additional on top of that to bring it over 100%, so that all the loans and the loan plus the costs are well covered. And then you can now sleep and rest. Yeah. So that's true. And one other thing that he talked about that we'd want to improve on is the turnaround time. So when you apply, so how long should it take? So as he said, here it takes 2 weeks. And there, when you apply, it takes 9 months. But not with the Red Bank. So the Red Bank would want to reduce that to almost closer to the 2 weeks. And that's the reason why we have him setting up a whole unit where when it comes to validations, when it comes to verifications of documents, the process should be very seamless to make sure that, you know, the turnaround time is improved. Unless you want to add something to that.
Yes. I know a lot of people here are self-employed, right? It's true. If you own a business, or I know like in the South, there are a lot of truck drivers, right? Or guys who own logistic companies. I mean, if you go to other states, you'll find that people own maybe healthcare, you know, companies provide healthcare services. So now, this is where we come in, and this is what makes us different from other banks. So let's say you're self-employed. You get a 1099, right, at the end of the year. And your taxes, or let's say when we ask for your bank statements, what do we see? A lot of money coming in. Let's say you're a truck driver. Or you own a truck. I'm so sorry, owner operator. You're driving your own truck. So you're getting your settlements every week. So you see money coming in. You go give that statement to a banker in Kenya who has been told the only thing we need is a pay stub, right? And a letter from the employer. So what happens? The guy doesn't even look at you, or he'll just maybe like, that's why probably maybe even you are maybe just getting an answer is taking a whole year or maybe 9 months, because I'll still keep asking for, no, we still need to see a pay stub. But you don't have one. You tell them, no, I'm self-employed. Now, this is what makes us different. You come to us, personally, I understand that you're self-employed. So what do I expect from you? A 1099, exactly. If you're employed, if you have a W-2, of course. Now, let's look at your tax return. So you know you have your Schedule C, right? Because you're self-employed, right? So what do? I know that so well. You'll have written off so many things. You guys know when we are filing taxes, you can even claim anything, including even maybe like insurance for your pet. I'm not saying that's what you guys do, but I'm just saying. But now, someone like me who understands how to read those things, now I'm able to make sure that that forms part of what? Of our underwriting policy. Okay? So that now, when you show up, Patrick brings us his 1099, exactly know that what that is, because it's so well articulated in our policy. So that is what makes us so different. So in that case, our brother over there now, when he needs to do just like here. when you're buying your house, right? So you go to your bank, you get your good faith estimate, you're happy, you go home. Then after that, the bank now starts talking to the title and abstract company, right? So now everything is all done between the seller and the abstract, and the bank through the abstract, through the title and abstract company. So in that case, what we would want to do is have an MOU with the man of God, okay? So we'll have a system to where we can just give you a pre-approval, something similar to the good faith estimate that you get when you apply for the mortgage here. So what we are trying to do is to make your life so easy so that now you can go to sleep. You can sleep at night and have some dreams. So I hope that answers your question, right? A very good question. I cannot pull your credit. You know why? Here, that I'm talking about the US credit, because that would be illegal. I cannot. I have to be set up. So in that case, I'll never ask for your credit. However, back home, we will pull your credit. But most of the people in diaspora, anyway, they usually don't have they don't have any credit. Sorry, they don't have any credit. No credit in Kenya is good. When you have zero, nothing is good. Because most of the people there, they have what? They are listed. So you go borrow money from digital platforms, yes. I'm sure, yes. And then you forget to pay. What happens? You're listed. Oh, and anyone that disappeared from Kenya after you got your loan from HELP. Yes. I was trying to do something in Kenya. Then they pulled my credit. I owed a lot because that money had, I think, penalties, all those things. So anyway, I remember I called HELP. They said, you thought we could not get you. So I had to pay that and clear it. So otherwise I would not even be working at DTB with Mr. Amayo. So anyway, I think that is something that you have to keep in mind. So if you want to borrow in Kenya and you know very well that you owe HELP, it's gonna pop up. So, but if you don't have anything else, zero credit, it's okay. In fact, it's the best. Yes. So yeah, we are not going to ask for your credit report. In fact, even it's part of, even me as a banker, I will not, that someone trained in the US, I cannot dare, otherwise I can go to jail. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. And in the interest of time, thank you for being so patient. I know we've gone a little bit over the time, but I'm sure, like me, you've all left with a lot of information. You've left at a better place than where you were when we began. And thank you so much, our amazing panelists. And can we give them a round of applause? So tomorrow, I've been informed there'll be opportunities for more questions and answers. So just keep your questions and you can table them tomorrow. So with that, that's the end of our session. And thank you once again. Bye. I invite Sarah Omugore.
All right. So I'm going to release our panelists to have a seat, and we want to acknowledge Irene. Oh, my goodness. Irene is give her a loud of, you know what? Irene is a real muhasibu. No offense, Mr. Morris. No. She is an accountant. She is really more than accountant. She's awesome. Wasn't she awesome? Okay, so I am going to close us out for tonight. And just say thank you to everybody for what you have done coming here tonight. So I just want to say this was an amazing beginning of our expo. Really, really great. And we thank God for each and every one of you who made time to come and just support our vision, support our vision. So with that said, I want to just tell you that we have wonderful vendors and sponsors. And if you look to my left, we have Hifadhi Sora, we have my man right there called Boundless Sora, Casey. You know Casey was good at asking questions. He is going to be good at telling you why you have to get Sora on your roof. Right, Casey? All right. And we have Gionette right here at this side. Today we are privileged to have two, as part of community service, today we are privileged actually to have two companies that are not for profit, non-profit companies that we support as Jamborists. We partner with them because we believe in their vision. Lubunoma Education Foundation, we believe in their vision. We support children with them. So I want you to hear about how you can give back to the community. And also the Youthful Faces. Those two companies are not for profit, but we support their vision. Now we have the Kenya experience, and of course, my ready karaoke. Ares Karaoke is here. If you want to buy a house in the USA, Ares Karaoke Realty is a person you want to meet. If you go out here at the door here, and you make a right. The first person there is Tito's House of Fashion, but on your left is Jambo List. Business begins with? You got that right. We are right there, me and Sarah. And you continue going a little further, you will see the Rio Muhasibu, Mr. Morris Jaggi. And right across is Pete and Pete Investors. They talk about stock market in the USA. Now you continue going, and you see Mutua Mungu, the guy who made Mr. Ngonga open the book of Leviticus to check you out. I was sitting right next to him, and he sure did. He was right there in Leviticus chapter 17. Was it 17? Numbers. Was it Numbers? Number 17. I saw you opening to make sure. It was right there. we thank God for you. But the book of Numbers, he did open the Bible to check you out. That's Mr. Washira. He will be right there. And of course, you have to go and see the red. What color is it? And what was the sea that they crossed with Moses? Now, Red Sea. And you know what? We are crossing that Red Sea today, tomorrow, and Sunday with our sponsors, Diamond Trust, because they are here, and they are all the way. You're going to find them all the way. You're going to see a lot of red, and they have a lot of goodies for you. So tonight, I want to tell you that we are not limited on time. So I want you to not leave. Go around and just have a conversation with all these groups. And then tell your friend, because tomorrow at 10 in the morning, we are going to be back here, and we are going to continue with the conversations so that you can hold them accountable, Casey, if they leave here and tell you something and they go home and they don't answer your phone. Is that right? That's right. So I want you to talk to each one of them before you leave. You're not leaving, and then you go tell a friend. Now, tomorrow we start at 10 with our vendors. So I want you to come, and don't come around, and bring a friend. And then at noon, not at 1 o'clock, we are going to have the housing. We're going to talk about the affordable housing. And you know, our sister Jackie is right here. And Jackie was the first person to arrive from the Ministry of Land and Housing and Public Works. And what's the last one? Urban Development. And she was the first one to arrive, and they have been arriving. Yesterday somebody arrived, and they have more coming. And that is tomorrow during daytime. You're having lunch with us at 1 o'clock, and that afternoon. And then in the evening, we have what? The dinner extravaganza. And I am super excited because we are going to have fun tomorrow. We are going to have so much fun. And Honorable C.S. Sakarejero, he is going to be here, and he's going to be talking to us about land issues and land and what changes he's making in order for us, when we buy land in Kenya, we don't get screwed up, right? All right, now, and then our partners and our sponsors, DTB, tomorrow we'll be cutting your cake right next door. We are launching, and we'll be cutting your cake, and we'll be having fun, and our DJ will be there, and we'll be just celebrating, right? And I am counting on our community because I know a lot of people will be here tomorrow, and we'll be having a great time. Now, with that said, I want to just honor the people who made time to come and be with us in this opening. Mr. Ambassador, thank you for taking the traffic on that crossing the bridge and paying just coming and honoring us with your presence. Coming here, and please tell Ambassador Kimani that we appreciate. We appreciate working with you, and we appreciate the support we have received from you and him. Mr. Ngonga, I have never sat next to someone on a panel who wrote answers from every panelist. You are a good note taker. You are a detailed man, and thank you for making time all the way from Washington, D.C. to be with us. We really, really, truly appreciate you. Mr. Wamera, I know I shouldn't say this, but last year you saw me at the embassy, and you said, calm down, your ID is going to be here. It's a year and a half now, my friend. And you know, I can be loud. I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher for 27 years. But I still think you're a great man. And I honor you for coming, because you didn't know you were going to meet me. And I appreciate you. Thank you for taking the road. And I believe that we have great partnership, and you are great support to us. We are just across the river from you, and you have always been there for us. We appreciate you. We do not take your time for granted. We do not take any minute you took to come to Jamboree for granted. It is really appreciated. Give them a clap, please. And our MC, Gladys, she had to leave to go to North Carolina, and then she'll be back again on Sunday. So we still honor her, even as she is driving at night with her family to go to North Carolina. And then our moderator, Miss Irene Muhasibu. What can we do without you? And thank you for letting Mr. Muhasibu know that you have been a partner for how many, 10 years? He's happy to find a partner here. So we appreciate you. So I want to end this tonight by telling you that the next step from now, we have until 9 o'clock, and so we have time to go to every single table and get to know what these companies are offering. And at this moment, I want to tell all of you to have a great night and just celebrate with us as we continue this expo. Thank you. Have a good, let's go to